Hi, and welcome to this week's reading. We're shaking it up and we're doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Instead of Pokemon. This week's theme is, what does the Shadow Realm want us to know? Where are we at on our journey with our shadow? And you might look at this and go, ow, where are the piles? And I'll tell you that I somehow recorded both setting up and deconstructing the piles and not the actual intro. So you're getting a post-filming intro here. This week we have Chiron the Mage, the Illusory Gentleman, and the Shadow Tamer. The timestamps are in the description. Feel free to fast forward there, and I'll meet you there. Chiron the Mage, you are up first. I removed the mat that I usually use that prevents the cards from moving around because it always just looks so dirty, but I'm a little worried the cards are going to be free floating today, so we'll see how that goes. We are going to start with the Kim Kranz Archetypes deck to get an idea about a little better idea of the identity of the shadow aspect that you're currently working with. So just as a note, Chiron is where our wounds live. It's the wounded healer. It's what we pull on for strength. And it felt meaningful to have this here. Let's see what we got. Oh, they gave us a lot. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So first of all, we have the Destroyer. This is the part of us that wants things to end. This is the part of us that this holds some energy similar to the tower, but it's and death, but it's more internal. It's our gray wolf. Kairos, though, we're dealing with divine timing. I think you know that it's time for something to go. It's time for something to go, but you're not quite sure what it is you're looking for. With the Hunter, we're dealing with this energy of the Hunter reverse specifically, we're dealing with this energy of not exactly knowing what we're hunting for. We're connecting with our body and we're anchoring into our breath, our awareness, our presence. And yet, I'm trying to think of how to place these. I didn't plan on having this many. And yet, we have, you know what? I think I'm going to do it this way. And yet, we have this looming dark energy, this looming lack of forgiveness. And that lack of forgiveness is where this growth is going to come from. That's the doorway. So let's see here. We're going to start with pulling alchemy. So first of all, we have the peacock's tail. This is about nuance. This is about living in the gray. It's about letting go of black and white thinking so that everything can come together. Coagulation is the final stage of spiritual alchemy. It is the stage where everything connects. Everything coagulates. It sticks together. It comes together. It adheres. That's apparently important. And there's a quote from this card that I think about a lot, which is that the red and white mix not to create pink, but to consistently have two individual things that are intertwining. One of the shadow aspects of coagulation can be codependency. So this almost feels like it might be related to your relationships. Let's see how I want to do this. This feels like it could be relational. Not losing yourself in a merge. Connecting with your breath, anchoring to your breath here. I feel like that's not working either. The energy this week is very interesting. And it's definitely got me a little frazzled, I think. Okay. So before I continue, there's an old pattern, an old wound that's created this pattern that you know it's time to let go of, but I think you don't quite know where to move toward. And so anchoring to yourself, rooting in yourself, and seeing where you maybe don't forgive this part of you, this aspect of your shadow, is where you're going to find the doorway to figure out what it is you want. And this requires that you don't think of this as something inherently bad. When we assign a value judgment to something, we actually miss a lot of data because we get tunnel vision from deciding like, oh, I'm not going to look at this thing because it's bad. But it's all part of us. And this is integration, embodiment of wholeness without losing the individual parts and pieces. I was saying that thing about codependency, but I think this has to do with the relationship with yourself and the relationship with others, because usually those are mirrors for us, right? So whatever this pattern is that you're ready to let go of, by rooting within yourself and looking at the ways that you judge yourself for having this pattern in the first place, you're going to be able to let go of it and embody a more whole version of yourself. Okay, here we have the Magician. Using your mind for positive purposes, for meaningful evolution. I feel like everything moved up a little bit here. Let's see. The magic required to make this all happen is already inside of you. You just need to access it. And we have the Tower. An old identity needs to die. An old identity needs to go. Being able to witness that identity with forgiveness, with acceptance, with compassion is how you let it go, how you integrate it in a meaningful way so that it's no longer creating destruction. Cut a vital connection. I mean, I feel like this can't be any more clear. Often I talk about self-sabotage as something that shows up because we have these shadow aspects, we have these aspects of ourselves that exist in our unconscious, and they have needs, they have desires, and they will do things to protect their ability to have those needs met. And if we don't know what they are, we don't know where they are, we don't know what they want, then it shows up more dangerously and destructively for us. So, like the example I always tell people is you're about to get this new job and you're going to make all this money. You're going to be doing so great. You don't need to carpool anymore. You don't need roommates anymore. And you have a shadow aspect whose desire, whose need is connection. And it sees this new job as a threat to it having its needs met. And so out of nowhere, you blow this job up and you're like, why the hell did I do that? That's why. So when we can cut off this kind of unconscious connection with these parts, to witness them, to love them, to care for them, to embody them, and integrate them, then we have the opportunity to transmute them and allow the old version of them to die. Do nothing for as long as possible. I see this very connected with sitting with this part of you. I think that there's the possibility of feeling like you're getting mixed messages from me here, because I'm saying that you need to embody and integrate this part of you. And I'm also saying that this part of you needs to die. But there's a rebirth in this that connects those two things. I don't think this is something you have to force. I think this is something that might already be happening. But there's this embodiment that is required here that's going to take some time to process, some time to grow and form. There are situations happening in your life right now that are mirroring aspects of yourself back to you. This shadow is being mirrored to you in different ways, in different connections, in different interactions. So interesting. The maiden is the part of me, the maiden is the part of me that wants a fairy tale, that wants someone to come in and save me. So when we look at this as, merging without losing ourselves, with connection, with embodiment, with coagulation, with the risk of codependency, there's witnessing a fairy tale and losing yourself in it. Yeah, there's self-neglect that comes from trying to serve a bigger narrative that is what you want to believe. I feel like this is like a very disparate reading. I feel, and I'm sorry if this doesn't feel super interconnected. It is, but it's with so many odd threads. Your relationship with yourself and this part of yourself is going to change your external relationships. But it requires that you look at it with love and compassion. And you recognize that forgiving it for the ways that it's shown up in the past that have maybe been hurtful or harmful is how you take your power back from it. And it's how you grow. It's how you move through it. You're aware that this pattern is no longer serving you. So now you have to be willing to let it go. Yeah. There's an old wound here, which we talked about, you know, Chiron in general is an old wound. There's this fear of rejection, but it's like, it's this wound of the things you feel you need to do to be loved. See that wound with clarity. And I think a lot of things are going to come into focus. It's like you're going to find clarity in one piece and the rest is all going to make sense. But you need to forgive the part of you that acts like this or has this wound, because ultimately that part of you is trying to protect you. It loves you. It has data that says when we do this thing, we get hurt. And this could look like self-sacrificing. This could look like people-pleasing. Let's see if there's anything else they want to add. Yeah. Advocate for yourself. You're aware that this wound isn't serving you anymore, and it's actually causing more destruction in your life. It's ready to go. Chiron Pile, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, this is kind of a disparate reading, but I hope that it was helpful. Yeah, very interesting. I feel like there's something there, and like I said, thank you so much for joining. Comment and let me know if this landed for you. Maybe there's a meaning to this I don't understand. And I hope to see you next week. Bye. The Illusory Gentleman. This is your pile. Let's go ahead and pop him up over here. Before we get started, let's pull a few cards to see what aspects of your shadow are showing up here. So the goal of this reading is to learn more about the work you're doing with your shadow currently. Okay, there's a death happening here. A meaningful death. A pathway to rebirth, but this is an underworld moment for you. We have the reddening. This is connecting more deeply in your body. This is integrating what you've learned on an intellectual level into a physical level, into an emotional body level. And we have the drowned king, which is dissolving who you once were to become who you're meant to be. This often looks like kind of an ego blow. So I'm guessing that whatever this death is was kind of predicated by this ego moment. We have iron leaning on the structure of your foundations, leaning on the heaviness. Uranus, unexpected. This kind of, I think this came out of nowhere for you. And Mars, ooh, getting iron and Mars together is an interesting combination. There's a part of you that's ready for a fight or has been in a fight. This is probably a pretty intense, tumultuous time for you. I would imagine you're kind of tired. And I feel like it might have come out of nowhere. You know what's so funny is I don't look at these cards before I do these readings. I pull them upside down. And when I picked this, I was like, God, we have to get the devil card here, right? Like that has to happen. And look, the first tarot card we pull is the devil card. I love that. We have the devil and the Hierophant. So this is feeling bound in something, trapped in something. An old way of being. I'm trying to like make these kind of even here. This is some kind of addiction or and you know, addiction isn't necessarily like substances. We can be addicted to chaos. We can be addicted to a lot of things. Apparently chaos is important here. And we immediately go into this sense of tradition, of leaning into tradition. So whatever this death was, feels like the death of feeling trapped under what others expect for you, the traditional path, the conforming path. This is a necessary death for you, but it's one that's kind of shaking up your entire sense of being. It's an illusion, right? The illusion of being stuck here and living inside of this illusion in a way that requires you to fight your way out. Disciplined self-indulgence. Okay. So, you know, be disciplined, but also like do the thing that other people don't want you to do or expect you to do. Slow preparation, fast execution. Like I said, I think this is something that came very suddenly. I love that this is under Uranus. I think that there was a buildup to this and then it all collapsed very quickly. Take a break. I think you're probably exhausted. You've been having to fight. You've been having to push through something pretty big here. So try something new. Try doing things differently than people expect you to do. Try to do what feels right for you. And know that like you're gaining so much strength. You've built a really strong foundation here of your sense of self. Yes, part of that sense of self was kind of pulled out from under you, but the rest of the foundation is still there. Fight for your ability to get out of this. I think you're kind of avoidant of this truth, of the fact that you're what's keeping you stuck here. Because at this point, it is the illusion that you're stuck in that's keeping you stuck. Take some time to just be, to listen to your intuition, to create something really meaningful for you. Because right now, you're really kind of staying in your comfort zone because you're afraid of being rejected for getting out of this, for doing things differently than people are expecting of you. Your comfort zone is feeling accepted. And your comfort zone is this wound. So this shadow is a part of you that believes that to be loved and accepted and cared for, you must do what other people want for you while ignoring your own desires and needs. And that requires balance. That requires you to create a new standard for yourself and to accept that not everyone's going to be happy with you doing what you want, but the people who truly love you are going to be happy that you're happy. There are a lot of contradictions that exist in being a human. There's a lot of nuance. And there's a lot of trauma that you have repressed around this idea. But something has happened or is happening currently that's dismantling that. And this is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like it. It's time to transmute that negativity into strength, to use your immense power and potential to create a life that you actually love. I love that this came out right above take a break. This is going to involve pulling back, taking time for retreat, for safety, and for solitude. And this death, one of the things that you might experience is feeling like a bunch of people in your life disappear. And that can be really uncomfortable. It can be really jarring, but it serves a greater purpose. Because if you're trying to figure out what it is you want, and you're surrounded by even well-meaning people who believe that they know the best path for you, you're not actually going to be able to hear yourself over them. So take time to just be, to rest, and to listen to what it is you really want. And trust that even if you are rejected for doing something differently than what others want for you, you're strong enough to handle that, and your joy in your new life will be worth it. I'm sorry because I've been here and I know how painful this can be. You're integrating some work you've been doing for a long time. And so now it's starting to show up in your physical world in a way that you maybe didn't feel ready for, but you are ready. And you can do this. And I'm so proud of you for the work that you've done to get this far. You've got this. Take time to be with yourself and listen to what you believe, and also separate what you've been conditioned to believe from what you actually believe. You can do this. The Illusory Gentleman Pile, thank you so much for joining me. Leave me a comment. Tell me how this landed for you. Tell me, what's the deal? I hope to see you next week. Bye. Shadow Tamer, this is your pile. I'll pop her over here. And before we start pulling out of here, let's take a clarifier card from this archetype deck and get an idea of the shadow at which we're working with. So the theme for today's reading is where your shadow's coming up currently, or where you're working with your shadow currently. So let's get a little more insight into the shadow that we're talking about. Okay. So we've got some death here. Go ahead and just put this. We've got some death here. There's a part of you that knows that you're meant for more than what you're doing currently, but your ego has been getting in the way. There's some sense of identity that's fighting this knowledge, this knowing. Something has happened recently as this death has started that has maybe felt like it really, really sucked, but it's actually going to end up being a really good gift for you. And this is also talking about a both and mentality, that you can be meant for more and living the current life that you're living already. 10. This is malleable energy, but it's also maybe taking on more than is feasible in the moment, or it feels like it is. The androgyne. So we're talking here about accepting contradictions, this both and. Accepting that you can be, meant for something more, and also stuck in an identity about it. And it's time for that pattern to die. And it's happening. The transition's here, whether you like it or not. The transition has already started. It is already here. And it is, it's happening, babe. Oh, there's 2 more. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's see here. How do I want to do this? This isn't something that you're going to be able to think your way through. This is something that is going to require you to feel your way through it. I moved these over to do this, but I don't think I need to now. Leave the cerebral behind. This is a necessary death and dismantling of the old. This is necessary death and decay, and it's creating compost. It's creating rich soil for a new future that's on its way. This future where you're meant for more. But whatever this identity is that you're stuck in has to die. You have to be able to accept these contradictions for you to be able to get there. And I guess that's the both and of it, right? You're both in this identity and this identity is dying at the same time. We have justice. Wait, sorry, no, judgment. Funnily enough, justice is the next card. Wow. Sorry. We have judgment here. You're on your way to a new beginning. You're on your way to a new expansion. And this expansion does require this transition. The transition's already here. And the work that you've done is going to matter. The gift will be matched. I keep seeing someone like holding on to a door frame, trying so hard not to let go of something, but it has to go. It has to go. Make a sudden, destructive, unpredictable action. Incorporate. Yeah. Decide to let this thing go, baby. You're going to see something amazing happen when you do. Turn it upside down. Like I said, the transition's here. It's already happening. Blow it up. It's time to blow it up. Blow it up. Walk away from it. It's time to go. I think it's interesting that this is sitting on top of the Azure Vault here, because I think there's a part of you that has known that it's time for this to go, but you're trying to like force it out or control it or ignore it. But that's a logical pathway, and the logic doesn't matter here. Be self-directed, be, the director of your life, be resourceful, be authentic, but allow. You're avoiding the discomfort of letting this thing die, even though you know it's time for it to go. And that's an act of self-neglect. So come into honesty and alignment with what you know, with your true self, and see that it's time to move on. The next door is opening, but you're not closing the old one. Yes, it sucks to have parts of ourselves go through this death and rebirth process, but it's also a really big gift for you. Accept that it hurts and that it's also the right thing. It's also the best thing. It's also the right next thing. You're going to get pushed out this door, so you can either gracefully allow it to happen, or you can go kicking and screaming, holding on, and make it more painful for yourself. You're not going to be able to think your way through this or force it or control it. You're only going to be able to let it burn. So decide how much you're going to fight the burn, because it's going to burn anyway. Let's see if there's anything else they want to add. Be passionate. Be tenacious about making sure that this happens. It's ready to go. You are meant for so much more, and the only thing stopping you is you. You can do this. I believe in you. Take it as the gift that it is. Take it as the gift that it is. Shadow Tamer Pile, thank you so much for joining me. You're doing some work, and I'm really proud of you. I hope that this was helpful. Leave a comment. Let me know what's dying. What's this feel like? And I hope to see you next week.